Hello, Ivan. Shall we give it a test?
Yes, it's working. It's
Hello,
working
Ivan.
fine. Hi.
I need to test the PowerPoint in the background. Can we give a quick try?
Sure. Yeah, you can try.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, excellent. So shall I start then?
Yes, we can start. And so we are coming to our last session today, to the keynote of Charles Tsai. And yeah, Charles, please go on.
Okay, today I'm going to share some early experiments in terms of IoT, AI, and the blockchain, and also some big plans that we think that will be the one of the major trends after this coronavirus outbreak, which is why we couldn't use IoT and the blockchain to encourage people to have to support more green behavior, energy, or environmental friendly kind of for the material packaging, So I will switch to some simple slides are prepared just quickly. Okay. So you must have read about news about the very obvious pollution reduction across the globe amid this coronavirus. For example, China. This is January, and just 1 month later, and you can see a lot of haze or dust storm. Just you couldn't see it as severe as before, and eventually when other cities get into this lockdown mode, and we can see very obvious satellite images showing, the less pollutions across those cities. Basically, meaning less industrial and human activities give us much better air quality. Now, this is quite obvious. So, obviously, with the reopening of the business, and especially, for example, the city I'm in right now, Shanghai, it's almost like a business as usual. We have, congestions, and during the lunchtime, the restaurants are pretty much full. So how can we do something about it? So before that, let me quickly introduce myself. I was the founder of a startup called InfiniVision iABC Labs, and it was joint venture between McDonald's, the initial team, as well as the CITIC Capital. And also, just a few weeks back, I was CIO, Chief Information Officer of McDonald's China, and the CDO as well, Chief Data Officer. And before, I was working in the commercial properties, investment banking, and energy trading. Especially energy trading, I've been doing that for almost 10 years in London. And also, I really enjoyed working for the community. So we were doing hackathons, meetup, and we have thousands. We have thousands of members for a community we call Data Science London. So I was helping it to establish some technology framework, and we did a lot of interesting stuff. Now, this iABC is what we are talking about is actually we put talents in IoT, AI, blockchain, and the cloud. Basically means distributed computing, all under one roof. It's not although we have a few labs, but they actually work together. So we will share some. We achieved a lot in AI and the distributed computing, and for the blockchain, because our customer is a big customers like McDonald's. So the current blockchain technology, to be honest, they definitely will hit the barrier in terms of performance scalability. However, we can share some experiments we did. Now, the idea is that for most of the physical business, brick and mortar business like Wanda, the commercial properties I worked before, and the McDonald's, this kind of we call physical business. It definitely IoT is extremely important because through that you can convert physical world into a digital world. And the blockchain, we don't need to say a lot. This is all about the blockchain this time. Digital economy. It's all about Internet of Value with a trusted environment, while in the untrusted computing fashion. And AI is so important. We see more and more cases, and giving us more and more interesting new business models. Basically, just help big organizations and small to have business innovations. We contributed a lot to open source, not only using them, in particular distributed computing and AI models. So anyone interested, we can share these GitHub repositories. Most of the big organizations, although we are talking about digital, digitalization, blockchain, tokenomics, but realistically, most of the big organizations, they are still undergoing digital transformation, basically upgrading their architecture to internet scale, cloud native architecture. It's very painful. You can see on the left side, there are so many enterprise stuff you need to upgrade it to the internet kind of a scalability and this kind of a new modern internet architecture. It involves a lot. Blockchain definitely is one of them. However, normally you would do the other bits first, like data, BI, IDC to cloud, hybrid cloud, and N-tier to Docker, microservice, and API economy, and API mesh as well. So even the search, we are having more and more cases using NLP in the boat, in the service center, but still a lot to be done. For example, my previous work, we spent an awful lot of time in omni-channel, because the way people can reach us, at least in China, there are so many different ways people can reach us. And before we can enjoy, for example, blockchain, token-based loyalty points or payment, you have to strengthen your capability around that front line. And on top of that, and you have to have a very good big data infrastructure capability and experts to optimize what we call private domain, basically your first party data. And it's all about the consumer data platform, CDP, and marketing automation. So you can do, because as I mentioned earlier, so people can reach our service and products in so many different ways, and how you can gather all kinds of data in a unified way and stored in a unified but still scalable tagging system, and so that you can do all kinds of marketing activities, almost like a social engineering kind of projects, And this one, let's jump deeper into the IoT. This is a typical enterprise level or industry AI plus IoT framework. As I mentioned earlier, you have to use all kinds of the sensors to convert the physical world to digital world in a real-time fashion. High performance, because we are talking about, if not millions, and even yet getting to very quickly billions of data points on a daily basis. Then you use actuators to control if you have actionable insights, that's using machine learning, big data, machine learning, even deep learning, to train your model to do predictive maintenance, energy saving, or even kind of a real-time logistic and the warehouse inventory control. So layer by layer, from the lowest layer, the sensors, actuators, to connectivities and edge computing. For example, we have thousands of stores. We deployed our edge computing device because, if you collect every single piece of data points, as I mentioned earlier, it's just impossible to handle. Back to the cloud, you will be using so much bandwidth that you leave the actual order bandwidth. Just a few bits. That's scary. And in the IoT world, there's all kinds of connectivities, network standards. So very different ones. and the standards are still evolving. So which means you have to handle not like in the cloud, they just x86 servers. You have to handle all kinds of different network standards. Now, then on top of that, we have all kinds of different application domains. Then eventually end up with customer facing, the user facing IoT and apps. Like as I mentioned earlier, energy saving is definitely, energy management is definitely one of the biggest one, and the media and equipment, and then the digital safety, and AI. Again, AI plays a lot of important role here. Now, and face recognition, CCTV, then this is, you can see that's pretty much to B side, not necessarily to C. We'll cover the to see the consumer side later. Now, another example is that we have a scale for good initiative, which is massive. It's all about given the one of the biggest food supply chain as well as food retail chain stores, and how we are thinking and doing around the package recycle, child nutrition, sustainable beef, carbon reduction, and energy saving, and also we accept a lot of graduates. We're talking about thousands of tens of thousands graduates every year. So how we give the graduates a clear career path. Now, you guys might know, recognize this one. It's Apple new headquarters. And this one, I believe, is a Google new headquarters. If it's not Facebook, I couldn't remember, but I think it's a Google new headquarters. And this is the iconic Shanghai three tallest buildings in Pudong area. And this is a restaurant. So what's in common among those four buildings? It actually, it's LEED Gold. It's a US Green Building Council certificate. And all of those buildings, they have LEED Gold certificate, which means they are really, really high standard green buildings. Now, interesting enough, it's not just green energy per se. It's more convenient. For example, when we select the site, we select we select those traffic density hotspots. So, and also, which means then, it can be reached easily via different kind of transportation methods. So, which ultimately, overall, we can save energy. And it's everywhere. It's where we sort through and we try to apply environmental friendly, for example, illumination and building material, and also even the process, the whole building process from beginning to end, in terms of a lot of rubbish recycle, and also the dust pollution management. And we definitely, although we have global presence, we definitely will be considering the local material, local source the material first, and then you can achieve with this very thoughtful planning and selection of solutions, we can achieve more energy efficiency. And actually, it's interesting for us, for the IT technologists. It's fun. It's more intelligent. And if you notice, we actually applied everywhere. Wi-Fi controllable or Zigbee controllable LED lights, so that we can reduce. We can give you kind of a cooler ambient light in the summer, and the warmer kind of tunes during the winter. So a lot of things can be achieved using this intelligent IoT device. So we're actually applying batch by batch of the stores within China to be LEED certified, and I think it's first time in China like a batch certification, and definitely largest number in terms of number in Asia. And I think it's a huge responsibility because of our scalability, of the business. So not only those kind of during the planning and the building process, we haven't stopped. So we have a few programs. Again, it takes time. It's all about digitalization. So we call digital 0 kilometers. Basically just 0 kilometers just within the store. And we are thinking of 50 to 100. Sorry, 1 kilometer kind of how we are going to digitalize, because we have tens of thousands of riders throughout the country, especially after this coronavirus outbreak, people using our delivery service more and more. So how we are going to 3D digitalize our environment around 1 kilometer, that's roughly 30 minutes delivery range of each store. And as I mentioned earlier, we have thousands of stores. So we use sensors in this delivery box to digitalize the environment so that we can optimize our routes as well as collecting pollution data. Again, so we, other than 0 to 1 kilometer, we planned to do 50 to 100 kilometers, because that's between the store and the distribution centers. All of those trucks, it's all about food safety. You need to keep the food frozen for certain food material. So this is all about digital food safety. At the same time, you want to save energy. So smarter routing, early predictive kind of arrival. So this can all help. Now, as I mentioned earlier, physical world and digital world, so we believe definitely every business needs to think really hard. And I think innovative business model, iterative product development, and advanced technology should all be the characteristics of a modern enterprise. And the more digitalization we do, it's the more digital economy, the scale, compare with the physical economy and digital economy. We believe it's not, a few times bigger. It's actually hundreds of times or bigger. And I will show you how. I really like this. Really like this diagram. George Davis did the initial version, and I extended a little bit. So basically, we are focusing on the lowest bit, still at the lowest tier. Basically, it's all about the blockchain. It's all about the big data. The sensors I mentioned earlier, and also we are deploying robots, and we are collecting data and building the infrastructure, the tokenomics infrastructure for DApps, right? So it's not app store, it's distributed apps, decentralized apps, and disintermediated apps, and everything make it composable. So that on top of that, we can tokenize anything with value, like prepaid payment, loyalty points, so that we can encourage people to be greener. Now, this one, for example, it took us a while, and we haven't finished yet. And basically, this is really about how we, for example, as big as the size, the scale of McDonald's, in which we have 120 million registered users already in China. But there are so many more customers, right? Given the ratio within our population. I think it's 1.3 billion. So yeah, we do have our own coupons, but we classify as single source coupons, although we have different kind of coupons within our organization. But there are more coupons from the end user point of view. So whether we can do C2C, like a P2P, like a matching, whether if I have some unwanted coupons, whether I can share with you, and that might be something that you are interested, and the C2B to C, we are working with some banks, for example, to start to share some market campaign together, because GDPR, and there's a very stringent data privacy, data protection laws in China as well. So we couldn't share data directly, but we can share loyalty programs and the different bands, and we can eventually through cloud and blockchain to have DSP alliance. So that we planned this digital assets exchange 1.0 using different APIs connecting to your each participant's own CRM or loyalty program API. But the best chance still is with blockchain, because we can use a single unified API and also cover the automatic clearance and settlements all in one. And through that, then we will be able to encourage green kind of behaviors, not within our organization, but across multiple ones with this alliance. For example, we are thinking of encouraging people to not use plastic materials used in our packaging, and how we are going to incentivize this behavior. We might come up with green points on top of existing points. Whenever you purchase anything digitally through our omni-channel, different apps or different ways or third-party portals, that at the moment you automatically own membership points, but yeah, it's time we think about green points to make it more fun and more and greener. So that's the idea, and we did a lot. And because, as I mentioned earlier, the scalability is one thing, but the standard of API and the smart contract framework to support very, very different or very complex coupons, market campaigns, they have all kinds of different rules. For example, we have 33 different marketing campaign promotion engine rules within our system. Buy one, give one free, is the simplest one, but we have, at least 33 within just food restaurant kind of a business. You can imagine there are many more kind of promotion engines. And the smart contract is a very good way to achieve that, but performance as well as programmability and interoperability is very, very challenging. Now, I talked about a lot of things, the traditional enterprise architecture, internet scale architecture, and IoT blockchain. And it just, as a CIO, for a big organization, I have to think, in a unified way, easier way. So this is one of the things I really like, and it's called the DIKW, data information, from data to information to knowledge and to wisdom. Below it, it's the, for example, data. The higher, the easier. The bottom ones are very, very difficult. You can see from the raw data side, sensor and the actuators, that's for IoT, it's the lowest bit. It generates raw data. And the blockchain is between data and the information. We believe because of a lot of good features of blockchain, it's not just raw data. It's actually, it can transform raw data to information fairly easily through blockchain. So it's right there. And then you can have all kinds of ways to manipulate, to ingest, to transform, and generate actionable insights from this data. So I will leave it. This one, we use it to gauge teams' data maturity or the whole companies, the whole groups maturity using data. It's about data-driven, strategy. We apply this throughout the organization. Overall, so I think, there's so many trends. I mean, from small to big, coming out of this COVID-19, pandemic. And definitely, I think green energy, green environment is something we are really looking forward and we hope as a technologist, will apply IoT, data and the programming and the blockchain, of course, to encourage whenever we can towards a green energy adoption as well as a green behavior. And at the same time, increasing the competitive advantage of, whether it's business or community, So that's probably it. That's my talk for now. And of course, there's a lot of teams, different teams, whether it's within the company or in the community, as well as I mentioned earlier, open source world. And also thanks for the organization. And we think we should have more collaborations. In particular, everything in the organization, at the end, digitalization is all about programming, code, and the deployment. And then we create a closed loop, generating data, storing data, processing data, and with the respect to the customer privacy, if we somehow can share, and not just the customer data, the customer behavior, but more about, for example, the environment data, and the more we can do, and the greener the world can be. So that's really it. That's my talk for now. I will switch back to my Zoom camera.
Yeah, Charles, thank you so much. Great presentation and great insight, and I'm really excited about your experience and the background in different kind of industries. So yeah, that's great. That's great. And thank you for joining our event and giving these insights. And if you can share the presentation with us, so for our community, so please send me. Okay.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation, and hopefully you enjoy.
So
okay. Bye for now. Bye.
So this was the last session of Digital Week Online 2020 Spring Edition, and we will come back very soon, and we will do some more events on technology, investments, innovation, and startup side. So stay tuned, and bye-bye.